Broker Bulletin acknowledges the traditional custodians of all the lands across the country on which we record our podcast and pays its respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. Welcome to the Broker Bulletin podcast, where better begins. Join us as we chat with brokers about what's working for them, what drives them, and the real challenges and wins that matter most right now.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another brand new episode of Broker Bulletin. I'm Alberto Gorgioski. Today, we're going to get really real. For all of you business owners out there, the juggle and struggle is real. And how do you stay top of work, life, and family? Well, today I'm joined by a supermum and doctor who has a thriving business in Sydney, Dr. Lisa Bridgett. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Can you start off by telling us a little bit about your business?
So at the moment, I am the principal broker, the key broker of the business. I've got 3 support staff who are all offshore. They all work full time and they all have different roles that they do within the business. They're amazing. They help me do all of the initial chats, the qualifying, the strategy meetings, and then I'm out of there pretty much and I can trust them to take it all the way through. Been working in broking for about 8 years, established my business in 2017. It was a career change for me. So I kind of went from working as a biomechanist, hence the doctor, for, I probably did 13 years in that career. Made the transition when I became a mother, became a single mother. And it just wasn't going to work, in that industry anymore. So pivoted to something that I was pretty passionate about. Got a Mediterranean background. So for all of you listeners there who have that same background, property is everything. Property was a thing I'd already, started playing around with. Numbers came easily to me. So I put the two together and had a crack.
Thanks for sharing this. It's such an interesting transition, right? Normally we hear about it a lot where, they've been in finance before and or they're in the property space. I haven't heard biochemist to broker to business owner. So you've obviously built this successful brokerage in Sydney. What do you think the key is to your growth and to the overall success of your business?
I think it's all about not giving up. I know that sounds so cliched.
Right.
It's hard. It's so hard at first when you first start, especially having to learn a new industry as well as, surprise, you have to learn how to run a business, not just be good at broking. So I think one of the key things for me was just not giving up, even though, I felt like I was failing and I was struggling with how I was going to get leads and generate revenue. And, oh my God, what's zero and what? I have to source my own clients and there's a lot happening. Yeah.
That really leads me to my next question. Like you wear so many hats. Yeah. Right? You're a broker, a business owner, super mum. How do you rate yourself at managing all of that?
I'm pretty damn good.
Yeah?
I'm good. Yeah.
Okay, and what led to that, do you think? Just who you are, or is it things that you put into place?
Yeah, I think for me, balance has always been a really big thing.
Sure.
Exercise has always been very, very important to me. Sure. So I speak about this a lot, but God, it's important. Having balance in your calendar, so looking at your diary at the beginning of the week and just going, right, I can see lots of violet. That means I've got good time with my children throughout the week. I can see lots of yellow. That means I'm looking after my health. I can see lots of green. That's client appointments. So just knowing that I've got that balance across all the spectrums gives me comfort that I am managing all the hats and I've allocated, suitable time to all of those things. So at the end of that week, as long as I stick to my plan, then I'm going to fulfill all the needs, be that children, be it running the household, be it business, be it staff, clients, whatever it is.
There's no fluke at it. And that's what you're telling me, right? Like,
it's
I had a question prepared to ask you about daily habits or routines, but I think that is the answer. You do have a daily habit, a daily routine. Your calendar's nice and clean. Yeah. It's focusing on your personal, your exercise, your health. And that kind of leads into everyone. And I think priorities is so important being a mum.
It is.
You can't focus too much on the family because then the business suffers, but then adversely, you definitely don't want your family suffering. So that's super interesting. Now, interesting one. I want to know, what does success look like for you, both for a business and in your personal life?
Yeah. That's a good question. And it actually comes back to what I just mentioned. And for me, success is balance. So if I get to my Sunday and I feel like I've ticked all of the yellows and violets and greens and so on, but I've been able to choose that.
Right.
That's success for me. So being able to choose who and how I spend my time, for me, makes me feel successful. As an example, tomorrow my kids have got their cross-country carnival and my mum will go to every single one of these, right? So I know there's someone championing for my kids regardless, but I want to be there because I know how excited they get for me to be there. So knowing that that's there, blocking out the 4 hours, knowing that I'm probably going to have to make that up later that night or, no client appointments. So that'll be made up later in the week. I just feel really good about that. And that's successful for me because I get to choose to spend time with my children, whereas perhaps in other situations, it really is.
You won't have that opportunity or...
Exactly. That's right. I'll never regret doing that,
One thing that we haven't touched on is your passion in supporting women in our industry, and it doesn't necessarily mean brokers. It means customers as well. I know you've run some pretty successful events at the loan market office around supporting women, whether, really gaining financial freedom and getting in control of their finances.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about that. Where does that passion come from? Is it something that you've gone through? And how do you see that playing out in the future?
That came together because I was speaking to, I just realized after COVID, there was this thing happening where I was getting so many clients who were separating. Okay. And I had so many women coming to me.
Thank you, COVID, for that.
Yeah, thank you, COVID. So many women just standing there, sitting there on the other side of the Zoom meeting and just deer in headlights and not knowing where to start and what to do and what can they keep. And I just realized there's a real opportunity there, not just as a business owner, but as someone who can help other women navigate something that's really easy for me to be able to see because it's a numbers game, but really, really difficult for them because they've got so many other levels of emotions and, all the things that are happening. So I soon realized that that's something that gives me goosebumps. And I really wanted to be able to support women. So I had a few people in my posse, my network, namely a family lawyer, a buyer's agent, and a financial planner. And so we all got together and we did that event and it was such a success. It might have been the champagne, I'm not sure. Right. But we did have a lot of women there who were just so engaged and we did lots of Q&A sessions where it was just really relaxed. And I realized that, there's a real need for that. So that's now become something I'm very passionate about and making myself very much available for. And I pride myself on certainly being empathetic because I've been through it before and I know the emotions, but I really do cut through it all. And in that first meeting, I know it sounds awful, but I probably shatter some ideals about what the person on the other side had, but it's that reality check. I think of an example of a woman who was gifted a home worth, 2.6 million by her parents, unencumbered. And her and her husband had lived in that. They were now breaking up and she had to give half of that to him. That was just how it was going to play out in the agreement. It's heartbreaking. So I just had to say to her, she said, "Oh, no, but I'll keep it because there's no debt on it." I'm like, it doesn't work that way. Yeah. I wish you could, and it seems unfair, but you can't. You just can't keep it.
It's so interesting how you said it. Like it's something that's second nature to you.
Yeah.
And then to these ladies, deer in headlights, there's so much to go through. And then you add on that emotional drainage that they're probably going through at that stage as well. So, I've seen your passion towards it and it is very commendable. And I think, the more we empower our people in our community, the ladies, the men that need that support as well, I think is really important.
It doesn't just help them in understanding their finances. It then helps them when they go into negotiations. So we're actually helping them with that emotional and mental load because they're not going in going, yep, I'm keeping the house because my parents gave it to me. They're going in, yep, I get it. I'm not keeping the house. So I would like to do this.
I really hope my wife for 15 years does not get in touch with Lisa or I'm in some severe trouble.
See a call from her.
Hey, look, it's so interesting to me, right? And so easy when you step back and realize what you're doing. There is a lot happening, right? In our industry, as you'll know, a lot of people struggle with turning that switch off, right?
Yeah.
It's either you're working 24 hours a day, but you can't do that. Yeah. Having your babies at home, they do require you. Do you have any mechanisms to go, I'm turning it off today?
I don't think I've nailed it necessarily. Okay. I think it's always a struggle and some weeks you feel like you're more on top of it, than others. I have a granny flat at home and that's like a separate kind of building to the house. So that separation of, a few meters, whatever it is, helps me switch off in that regard because there's no computers for me in the house. That that helps. I also make sure I do my yoga in the middle of the week every single week. It's a non-negotiable.
Love that.
Every Wednesday, nobody gets that time slot. I look forward to that because I know in the middle of the week I'm doing something that's just going to help me switch off, calm down, and nobody can get into that space. Sure. My phone doesn't work there. It's great.
Oh, awesome.
Because it's downstairs. I think it's really important as parents and mothers, dare I extend it to single mothers, but not necessarily, to have your children on board. As soon as they're old enough to comprehend, involve them in what you're doing. You know, let them respect you as a mentor, as a mother, as a business owner, as a boss lady, and their mum, and the nurturing, you know, look after me, pay for all the things person. But I let my kids understand my business. You know, we do a download at the end of every night and we talk about what was the favorite part of your day, what was the part that you didn't like so much, and what's something cool that you learned. That's awesome. And they're encouraged to ask me as well, right? So they take an interest in my life as much as I do in theirs. And quite often I'll talk about, I had a client, I felt really good about it. I helped them get into a home and, you know, so I help them understand what I do and the feel goods. And quite often, you know, it might be that I have to go and do a late night client meeting with someone who can't do it during business hours, and both of them will be like, "Good luck, mummy," as I walk down the hallway. You know, they get it.
That's so wholesome, though.
It's so wholesome. Right. And it's just little things when I'm working in the office. We have a code now and they'll come up to the sliding doors if I've picked them up from school, for example, but still working. Sure. And it's thumbs up or thumbs down. So they'll go like this to me. There's my, you know, screen. I'll just kind of lean out and do a thumbs down. Then they know, don't come in. I'm actually in a meeting because they can't hear or tell.
Love that.
So I think involving the whole family, your whole tribe, all of your posse, whatever that looks like, makes it easier.
Yeah, from what I'm getting out of that, you don't need that very severe direct separation. I think I love what you're doing with your kids as well, and there's no reason why we can't use this as to empower them, right?
Yeah,
like, why can't they reach these heights as well? And it's something to be proud of. So it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I am.
If you could go back, think of 2017, Dr. Lisa Bridgett, about to kick off her mortgage broking career. What's one piece of advice that you'd love to give yourself at the start? What would it be? Like that one key line that makes the next 8 years a little bit smoother to you?
I think it would be get a mentor who you vibe with, who understands your unique challenges and is able to then support you in becoming a broker. Because I find, you know, as a mentor myself, a lot of people reach out, I have to get a mentor. Right. Don't make it about having to get a mentor. Actually appreciate what you can get out of having a mentor, you know, and absolutely reach out and interview and find someone who you think is really going to support you navigate, because it's so damn lonely. And if you're also learning a new industry, it's really hard without having someone, you know, in your corner who can help you just nudge you back on the pathway should you. It
is important, right? And if you think about it, everyone else has it. Like I always say it, athletes will have 50 performance coaches looking at them, micro obsessing of every move. And sometimes as business owners, we forget that, you know, that support is out there for us as well.
Yeah.
Lisa, at Broker Bulletin, we're all about finding those 1% improvements that lead to big wins.
Yeah.
What's one thing that you do every single day that has the biggest impact on your business performance?
Yeah, I guess it's on my business per se, and that is I meet with my team every single morning.
Ooh, okay.
So we meet and we go through not all of the active files, but we go through anything that's topical, anything that we need to do for that day. And we're in a real routine now where everybody sets up that daily to-do list the night before. So then we jump in the next morning and we just go through it and we tweak and we move priorities pending on what the whole business needs to get done for that particular day. In addition to that, every Tuesday we'll do a pipeline meeting, and that is where we go through absolutely every single active file. And I think the combination of those two things make sure that nothing's getting missed and we're across everything every day.
When you started your business, I'm assuming you're a sole operator.
Yep.
And now you've scaled to how many people in your team? 4 people. Have you found that journey of being a broker to leader a bit interesting, scary? Did you how did that come about for you?
Yeah, that was fine for me. And I think it's because of my previous career. Sure. I did a lot of lecturing. I managed staff in the university setting. Then I managed research management teams. So leading people, I enjoy it. I enjoy that side of it.
And do you find that, and I think I know the answer to this question, but the way you involve your team gives you a different outcome from it? Like,
yes.
You keep saying the morning meetings, is that something that's been there from day one, or is that something you have? So,
it has, yeah.
So what I'm getting is your involvement with your staff.
Yeah, definitely. And we have, I have values and they're on my website, but I also like the group to have those values, and then I reward them for those values. Once every month when we're going through our KPIs to see how everyone's tracking, I'll pick one staff member who has really shined in one of those
value awards.
Values,
awesome.
yeah. And then they get a half day off on a Friday
what
to
are
say
those
thank
values?
You. I don't remember them off by heart. Come on, they're on my website.
Fair.
Go see them. Balance, nurture.
Yeah. There you go. So she says she doesn't know them, but she knows them. She knows them. Hey, look, that's so important. I love the way you're bringing in your team, you're bringing in your family, the whole hat. You're wearing so many hats. I think if you try to exclude everything, that's where the pressure comes in. Like,
it does.
Am I spending enough time with my family? Am I giving my team enough? Am I being kind enough to myself? I think what you've really unlocked and what you're showing me is that, hey, my family gets that family time where it's mum, Lisa Bridgett, but you also want them to see them.
Yeah.
To see you at your operating best. And even with your team, I'm realizing that they're not just a team. They're not just somebody that comes in and does a job and goes home. The value award being so important to you as well. And then I love what you're doing with yourself. Like, you're not forgetting about you. It's having your once a week yoga on the Wednesday and having your morning gym sesh as well. And
not holding that mum guilt. There's a lot of women in business who carry a lot of mum guilt for spending a lot of hours on their business. Don't do that to yourself, I know for me, when I work big hours, I'm doing it for my children, and my children benefit from it. We go on holidays as a result, I come to cross-country carnivals as a result. So you just got to...
It's betterment for your babies, right? It's all for
let go of that side of it. And
societal pressures, I guess, it's so easy to get caught up in that, isn't it? And what the norm is, I guess.
It really is, and then there's, the school mum drop-off, and there's every type of mum at that drop-off, there's the ones that work, there's the ones that sit there in their activewear and drink their coffees, and everyone has a job.
I'll definitely be that mum. I'm an activewear coffee drinking mum.
I'm an activewear working mum. Everyone has a different role and a different way they do their thing, and there's no judgment either way. Every formula can work.
Being a new parent, I definitely agree, right? You get given 500 million pieces of advice and you realise you don't remember any of it at 4 a.m. when your baby's screaming, right? You're doing everything that you can do for him. And I think that's your message there, right? Be gentle to yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Lisa, I want to wrap up today. Look, for me, the biggest takeaway today is just a few of them. I think you raised such valid points around being kind to yourself. Don't have to put all that pressure on yourself.
Yeah.
I love the work that you're doing with the community as well, and what you're trying to build, supporting our ladies in our industry. But most importantly, I love the way you've structured everything for yourself. It's not a fluke. It's not something that you're just good at. You're color coding things. You're purposely doing things in your world, and there's no fluke that your business is doing as well it is. So well done on that.
Thank you.
For everyone else, thank you so much for listening. If you have a topic that you want us to discuss, please email us at brokerbulletin@lmg.broker or DM us on Instagram at lmg.broker. And our producers will make sure that they answer it ASAP. If you like this episode, please make sure to rate us, follow us in your favorite pod store.
Thanks for tuning in to Broker Bulletin. We would hate for you to miss an episode. Subscribe to Broker Bulletin in your favourite podcast app. Has this episode been helpful? We'd love you to rate and review us. It'll help us deliver content that's useful to you and help others discover us. If you have great ideas for topics worth tackling or have burning questions you'd like addressed on an upcoming episode, reach out. Links in the show notes. See you next time.